Today is the last day of the first decan of Leo. We have this sign ruled by the Sun, but this particular period we have the sub-ruler of Saturn. Leo as a sign of fire, it's the fifth sign of the zodiac and represents creativity, vitality, self-expression. People in general from this sign like to be in the center of attention. That's also shining like the sun. They have courage, kind hearts, they are generous, they are brave, and of course they like to be acknowledged for what they do. And when they are not really in a line with their own energy and their own power, they can be a little bit too dramatic maybe and have a childlike attitude. We can also understand that being with a strong ruler as the Sun. But now we have Saturn, who is not really happy in Leo. It's the planet of boundaries, of limitation and restriction. But actually this cosmic teacher wants us to learn maybe the tough way, only good things for us. And it takes time, so good things take time. This is the lesson that we ultimately have to learn, and maybe for you in this decan as well. Even the symbol, it makes her as a social planet. We have here the cross, so the part of practical application, but then we also have this growth here that shows receptivity and different level of information and new realities. The card that is associated in Tarot with this particular decan is the Five of Wands. As I said, a sign of fire, so we have the wands. We are in the middle of the summer, so we have associated with Leo the 5 and the 6 and the 7. The first decan will be the 5. And if we look at this card, we see like 5 spirits going their way in a competition, which we can presume it helps them to develop, it helps them to improve their skills. And actually in the end, after the competition, we can consider that they will master in the same time the spiritual and the material world, like in the card of the universe, the one that's associated with Saturn, and they will do that by developing their strength, which is the card associated with Leo. So we also see here almost a 5 pointed stars, which is a symbol of perfection, or they can end up in anarchy. So it's up to the process itself. But we see here the 5 as a symbol of the 5 senses, that when they work together, we can create perfection. And we also see the different colors of the clothes here, which are associated with the 4 elements, and we have here the 5th element, the element of the spirit. They need guidance. They can realize maybe the perfection that they are looking for. I'm going to select and show you several cards from different decks. I start with this Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot, where the 5 of Wands talks about ready to take a challenge and ready to defend yourself. So you see here a goddess that is in a victorious posture, and she is raising her wands up alongside others that are planted on the ground. She is proud of her acquisition and ready to take the challenge, and she is maybe in an enclosure area, but that means she's also ready, like I said, to defend herself. The wands as the fire element represents spirituality, creativity, passion and ideas, and she's also ready to share them. Ideas might not be grounded now, but a shift in perspective is what needs to be solved, and that can block you in what you are willing to realize. It's also a card of priorities and find your flow. From the Herbeck Crafter's Tarot, we have the 5 of Fire as Black Cohosh, which talks about anger. Anger is sacred. Honor the fire that rises up within. Neither deny your anger, not let it rule you. So this is about what we do with the anger, with frustration, and we can find different way of dealing with it, like wait and act later, or just act on the moment and then accept the consequences, or look for a healthy competition. And this is what the next cards are talking about. We have here the Warrior 5. The warrior's path is rarely smooth. There are always obstacles to remove, but when frustration bursts too bright, no all can wait till time is right. So this is about waiting when you feel the anger. Then we have the Happy Tarot, where we see these children playing, and when it's finished, the game, even if they look now they are fighting, they are all still good friends. So you can always end a competition with a smile, and if it's a healthy competition, that's why I like here so much that rainbow coming up. They are all different, these 5 children here, but they find something in common. We also can see the card from this Ancestor Path tarot deck, the 5 of staves here, like something that talks about cooperative efforts. So if they work together with planning and strategy and discussion and negotiation, and they use together their skills and talents, they can create something, this beautiful temple here, something of on a great scale. So this is another interpretation, using your strength to create something, but by cooperation. Then we can look at 5 of Wands from the Sun and the Moon Tarot, where we have this clear Lord of Strife, what is called, and it's associated here with this Donga sport from Africa. Challenges, we have here the fire, but it's also about training in a way, how to deal with challenge and confrontation, how to deal with the frustration, because it is a game. It can, one have to win, but it can also see it as a win-win situation, because they both improve their skills. If we see the Muse Tarot, the 5 of inspiration, comparison with each other. So these 5 women here are competing. They all have their own mirror. They have all things that maybe they are not enough, and that competition can hurt. A war of bodies, brain and poses to win the titles, names and roses, and in the end we give too much of our own souls and joy and such. So don't let the competition steal your peace. And from the Sage Tarot, we have the 5 of Wands as a moment in which your patience is tested, and it's important to focus on your true self. And even yoga means yoke with regards to your mind, body and breath. So maybe some yoga position when you feel the challenge, the frustration. Remember that the idea that you are separate from everything, it's just an illusion. And that this card is associated with solar plexus chakra, so maybe good to pay attention in the moments, of course, of anger or frustration or conflict, challenge, to your solar plexus. Trying to. Then in a beautiful card from the KALY Tarot, we see this as a competition here, but a competition that it's harmless. It's a test of courage, and this is very important for Lion. So it's now we have the bell ringing. The message is important. Remember that even if it's a challenge, it's just a test of your ingenuity and of your courage. From the Angel Tarot, the card is 5 of Fire, which seems for us more ideas, maybe for you to choose which is your priority. And remember that even if there are competitions from outside, it's in the end it's just a mirror for you and how you react and how you choose to deal with these competitions. If we look at the Linne Strider deck, we have the Five of Wands here. It's more about reminding you to focus on your goals. When you feel maybe divided, you don't know which path or which priority, like we just said, to choose for, you can always focus on what is your goal, and in this way make the right choice. If we look at the Vision Guide Tarot, we see these five people here. They all have their ideas, they all think that they know better, and everyone has his own agenda. So it's also a sign that in this kind of competition to learn how to incorporate either visions, because this is the Vision Tarot, in your own, and how to be flexible and in the end be free, be the leader, but also to learn from others. And then from the Wooden Tarot, we have these reindeer antlers, which are known to be very strong, but maybe sometimes you are pushed against your limits, and then you need to consider how can you have a healthy debate and not get into anger and frustration. I will look into the Beneath the Moon book for the Five of Wands, and the story associated is the Pandavas. It's an interesting Hindu story, but it shows that these five brothers, by working together and putting together their effort, they managed to get the kingdom of their father back. So it's an interesting long story, maybe some of you already know it, but they managed to fight with hundreds of Kauravas, and they are the one that working together, using their skill together, and maybe also with good priorities and working in a collaboration, they managed to win against 100 who maybe didn't have the same focus like they had. And then I have two beautiful decks which I wanted to show you. This is the Red Seeds Tarot, which here is called Five of Torches, and the story is of Demeter. She put her child in the fire, and she was visiting the Queen Mentanira, and the queen got very angry, but she didn't realize that actually this was the plan of the goddess. She just wanted her child to lie in the divine fire of immortality. So mortals are ignorant and foolish, unable to foresee destiny, the good and the bad coming on them. You are incurable, misled by your folly. And you must be ready to burn yourself in your own flame. How could you rise anew if you have not first become ashes? So this, I think it's a very beautiful message, maybe even about all those torches that are burning us from time to time, ways to help us to become immortal in a way, or to remember who we really are. So it can be a difficult test, but don't have to interfere with the plans of God, at least according to this deck. We may be facing struggles and confrontation. Things may have really heated up, leaving us feeling hurt, drained, stressed, and anxious. Arguments, fights, and uncomfortable situations bring with them discord, challenges, and anger. It seems we are maintaining a bonfire in our lives. Although it might be difficult, we must try to remain as centered as possible so that we can see what is really going on. This is a hard ask, but let us try to pull back so as not to breathe in the high level of smoke that surrounds us. We need to dampen the searing flames of emotion and conflict that is burning brightly within us. Let us take care not to burn ourselves, for what is before us may not be as big or as important as we might think, and can be damped down more easily than we might imagine. And if you remember at one point when I mentioned about the colors and the 4 elements. I also mentioned that, of course, with 5 we have the 5 elements. So I have here the 5th tarot, restoring of the 5th element, and in this deck the 5 of fire talks about transformation, and mostly about the solar flares that we experience a lot now, and getting closer to the Lion Gate, maybe even more. So I will read some of the description of this card because it's very unique and I found it very interesting. In the 5 of fire, we see the sun in the foreground, the earth and the moon in the background. Huge solar flares are being emitted from the sun. Solar flares imply changes in climate and influence changes in thought on the earth plane as well. As all is interconnected, we are stepping up our vibration to move with the Earth Mother into the 5th dimension. Everything around us is moving and in that direction too. So this is for those of you who believe that we have more several dimensions and we are moving now in the 5th dimension, and this 5 of Wands and the energy of this period, it's very much about transformation. We are living in these times where very powerful shifts of energy are occurring, and this energy can create, of course, opportunities for all of us, but especially for you or Saturn in Leo, to create transformation in your life, making way for new visions of the world in which you want to live. And then it's very important to have this vision as clear as possible and be aware that this is going to influence your life and work. They will all be like an agent of change. You can reinvent yourself. All this talks about how you handle emotions in the end and the fire in your life. And you can, by reinventing yourself, you can support the collective consciousness, and you can bring your own creative flair to the projects that you are working on, and you can add your passionate voice because you are a lion to bring positive change to the world at large. I hope you enjoy this reading, and for those of you who had a birthday, a late happy birthday.